What's good? Peace, love, and light to all my family. In there, we're new. A humble Dudley. Sakafed Nom said Dudley. What is good? My name is Dudley, aka Dudley Duds. And peace, love, and light. Peace, love, and ascension to everybody watching this video. So, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the meaning of the eye of Heru, aka the eye of Horus. Now, if you haven't already seen my previous video where I broke down the Ankh and the symbol and the meaning behind the Ankh, make sure to go watch that video and get educated if you didn't know what that meant. Now, the reason I'm doing these videos is because there is a lot of miseducation, and also the blow that has been done to African people. It's gotten to the point where a lot of African people don't even know thyself. And know thyself is the #1 law of being an African, okay? And also self-preservation is the #1 law of nature. And so it's imperative that Africans know who we are, okay? And when I'm talking about Africans, I'm talking about Kemetu, or black people, okay? I'm talking about black people. Doesn't mean, doesn't matter if you're a part of the diaspora, if you are African descent, if you are Kemetu, if you are African, black, okay? Because Kemet literally translates to the land of the black people, okay? And so I make these videos upon request and also to educate people on our ancient symbols. Now, I'm gonna break down what the eye of Heru means, but before I get into that, I have to give you a history lesson so that we can get caught up to this symbol and how a lot of the confusion started and where that all derives from. Now, the first thing I want to say is this: religion did not exist in Africa. That's one. Religion did not exist in Africa. Now, we practiced animism. What does that mean? We were connected to the source, nature, okay? Now, with that being said, because I don't want you guys to believe anything that I'm going to say, I want you to go do your research and then come back to the video and fact check me and see if I'm lying. And by the way, don't just go on Google. Go on a search engine that's not going to censor what you're looking for, such as DuckDuckGo, I believe it's called, or Bing. Actually go on a platform that's not censored by the government, which we know are Freemasons. So what I'm going to say is this: religion did not exist in Africa. The concept of religion is exoteric, which is European or Eurasian, because technically Europe isn't a continent because it doesn't stand by itself. Eurasian is the proper terminology that I'm going to use based off of geographical evidence. All right, so the concept of a god outside of us is Eurasian or European, whatever you want to call it. So religion did not exist in Africa. So that's one. Religion has only been around for about 5.2K, so about 5,200 years. Now, ancient Kemet, which is the name of what is now called Egypt. Egypt was not the name. That's the name given by the Greeks, okay? The Greeks named it Egypt. If you look at the etymology of that, was Egyptos or Gyptos, okay? So what you have to understand is that the land Kemet, which literally translates to land of the blacks, land of the black people, and Kemetu meaning black people, is a civilization that now anthropologically, geographically, and based off of our African artifacts has been confirmed to be at a minimum 30 to 45,000 years old plus, okay? They still haven't figured out how old it is, but at a minimum it is about 40,000 years old plus. So I say that to say this: modern day religion has only been around for about 5,200 years. Christianity has only been around for about 2,000 years. Okay, so I say that because I hope that you guys are staying caught up with me and staying up to par. So these symbols have existed long before Christianity, Buddhism, Islam. All of these religions are carbon copies, hybrids, flipped around to control the masses through Freemasonry. And I'm gonna prove what I'm saying, but again, don't believe what I'm saying. Go do your own research. You see, when a lot of uneducated black people or uneducated white people or just uneducated people in general see our ancient symbols, they misinterpret it for Satanism, when in fact, one, Satan doesn't exist. Okay, again, Europeans came over with an exoteric mindset, trying to interpret our symbols and deem them as gods. The concept of gods didn't necessarily exist in ancient Africa per se. Now, they say that we worshipped the sun, which in ancient Kemet, the sun was depicted as Ra with a falcon head. We did not worship the sun. Okay, we understood that the sun was a physical manifestation of the Most High, the Creator, the same way that you and I are physical manifestations of the Most High, the Creator. And so you could compare that to, for example, I love my mother because she birthed me, and I know that because of what she did, I'm able to be here and breathe this prana, this life force. But I am not a worshiper of my mom. The concept of worship, something outside of you, is exoteric, comes from Eurasia, Europeans, or as we used to refer to these people back in ancient Kemet or Kush as Amu. Okay, we called anybody that was white or just not, you know, African or Kemetu black, we called them Amu. All right, and so these concepts came from the white man, the European, the Eurasian, trying to interpret our symbols. But we understood what our symbols were because we were living in harmony with the laws of nature. We are vibrational beings, and we understood that. So whenever you would see Ra, and I'm saying all of this to bring it back to what the eye of Heru means, okay? I'm saying all of this just to get you guys caught up. So what you have to understand is that a lot of the names that we use to address our African spirituality is of Greek descent or is of Latin descent. Latin was created about 75 BC. So that's 75 before Christ. So that means Latin has only been around for really about 2.1 to 2.k years. So anywhere between approximately 2100 years. This civilization has existed for 30,000+ years, okay? And some scholars are even, some accredited scholars, African scholars, are even finding that it may be 100,000+ years old. All right, so these symbols have existed far beyond any religion, okay? Now, earlier in the video, I said we practice animism. We had a certain innate spiritual aspect to us, and that is because of our essence and our pineal gland. Now, the pineal gland, every African person has a vibrant pineal gland. And even if you look back to the States in when the Vietnam War was going on, all of the African American soldiers that were dying, whenever they would do their autopsies on them in comparison to the white Americans, they found that the African Americans' pineal glands were always vibrant and healthy, as opposed to the European or the white man's pineal gland was calcified. You can go look this up. This is public record, you know what I'm saying, because whenever an African man starts to speak truth, people get defensive and say that you're being racist because you're being pro-black, or because you're proud of who you are, or even taking the side of being proud of who you are, you're speaking truth. So you can go look this up, the studies that the coroners and doctors did when they did autopsies on the slain African American soldiers versus the white soldiers. Now, the reason why Europeans and people of European descent pineal glands are naturally calcified is because, according to microbiology, and you know, I got my sources, but some people might say that I'm lying. Go look it up yourself on the uncensored platform. According to microbiology and microbiologists, Europeans and people of European descent are part Neanderthal. I believe it is about 7% Neanderthal, so they are hybrid humans. Go look it up for yourself. I don't want you to believe anything I'm saying. Go educate yourself and look it up. And so Europeans naturally are disconnected spiritually. Naturally disconnected spiritually, according to microbiologists. And you have white microbiologists that have even confirmed this and said this. So again, I urge you to go do your own research, right? And so Europeans were naturally in a hostile environment. It was cold, there was a lack of resources, they were disconnected spiritually. And so when you're disconnected spiritually and you're coming to a land that's fruitful and you have no culture, you know what I'm saying, just according to history, and you have no culture, and I'm not downplaying or attacking, I have to make a disclaimer because I know that there's a lot of white people that watch me and support me, but I'm just talking based off of history. When you have people that don't really have any resources or culture and they're in a hostile environment, it's the same thing as when you confine black people in the projects with a lack of resources and they have no outlet. You're going to be more hostile and violent. And so in ancient Kemet, there was actually a study of why white people act the way they do. This is facts, you can look it up, why they were hostile. And they found because it was the environment and how they were bred and brought up. And so I'm saying all of this because you have to understand that when they came over and they raped and they pillaged and they did all the things that they did, they tried to interpret our ancient texts, right? But they couldn't understand it, so they had to take it and create false gods, such as, you know, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And what I want to say about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit is, one, the original Holy Trinity was taken out of ancient Kemet between Asar, okay, Aset, and Heru. Asar being what the Greeks called Osiris, which is after the fake god Serapis, right? That has been confirmed to be a fake god. And then you have Osiris, which is from Aset, okay? And then you have Heru, or what the Greeks called Horus, but I prefer to talk about it in the African names, right? And so that was the original Holy Trinity, because in African society we were matriarchal, not patriarchal. And you can see in European culture, they're all about the men. They're all about the man, and they didn't even respect their women. African culture has always been about respecting our women. We will kill you over our women. We love our women, because first was the woman. Okay, the woman was here first. Let's keep it a buck. The woman was here first. Now, of course, a man puts life in a woman, and so it's a beautiful union. Now, this is what the Ankh symbolizes, as I stated before, so I'm not going to stay here for too long, but the Ankh symbolizes life. On top, you have the womb. On the bottom, you have the shaft or phallus, and out the sides, you have the offspring coming out to create life. And the womb is on top for a reason. The womb symbolizing divine feminine, the shaft symbolizing divine masculine, and only through this union could life be brought out. And so right there you can already see that even homosexuality wasn't the norm in ancient Africa, because it went against the very concept of life. It was in opposition to life. And so I'm saying all of this because I also brought up Freemasonry earlier in this video. And so what you need to understand is that everything that is opposite to life is the anti-Christ. Religion is opposite to life. So this is why it's, you know what I'm saying, again, go do your research. If you worship Jesus, you're worshiping Lucifer. You have to understand Freemasonic codes and how they communicate, because even in pictures of Jesus Christ and Baphomet, they both have the same symbol, and this is a Freemasonic symbol. And you know what? So a lot of people don't even know that even this is a Freemasonic symbol. When you raise your hands, don't shoot, right? It's a Freemasonic symbol. So when you're actually doing this, when you're in church and you're worshiping like this, you're actually giving up your power. Now, I'm saying all of this not to really dismantle anybody's foundation, but to make you think and to make you do your own research, especially if you are an African man. So I talked about how the average European person historically and even till this day has a calcified pineal gland. And I brought the pineal gland because the eye of Horus, or Heru, symbolizes the pineal gland. And the pineal gland is the all-seeing eye, or the mind's eye, or the third's eye, however you want to refer to it, because I've said it many times before, we are interdimensional beings, and we've always understood that. So for people that call this satanic, okay, if this is satanic, why did your God, Jesus, or Muhammad, or whoever you believe in, why did your God put the pineal gland inside of your brain if it's so satanic? And so this refers to the pineal gland, the third eye, the all-seeing eye. And so this is why they want us disconnected from nature by day. I'm gonna be specific. I'm talking about Freemasons, because Freemasons are the enemy of the people, because Freemasons don't even understand that the very essence of who they are fraud. Everybody knows that they took all of their symbolism from ancient Kemet. So how can you profess to be enlightened and be a Freemason when you're not even African? That's one. And for the Africans or black people that are Freemasons, they don't even understand that you're doing African people a disservice, because any real Freemason knows that they don't accept women or anybody that's not a pure white man. So if you're a black Freemason, you're going against yourself. If you are a white Freemason, you're fake, because you're not African. So this is why you have to understand that Freemasonry is an illusion and it's fake, and they're Satanist. The real agenda behind Freemasonry is Satan. They worship somebody that's not even real, because Satan isn't real, because the God of the Bible isn't real. And so you can understand just how everybody has been indoctrinated. Because why would an all-seeing, all-knowing God create human Adam and Eve, but then create Satan, the problem? God is all-knowing, so he had to have known that Eve was going to take the bite off of the forbidden fruit or tree. So if he's all-knowing, why would he create something to put us in damnation, and then we have to serve him our whole life so we don't go to hell? It doesn't add up, and that's just one contradiction in the Bible. All right, and so the reason I said all of this was so you can understand that these are ancient. These predate Christianity, Buddhism, Islam. These predate any modern day religion. And so the reason why you have to know this is because the number one law is to know thyself. And if you don't know thyself, you'll stand for anything. And if you stand for anything, you will truly never ascend. And so this is why African people have to know themselves. This is why African people have to understand that you've been taught a lie. And so I got my flag right here next to me for a reason, parce que c'est Haitien here. I am Haitian. And the reason I have this flag here is for demonstration purposes, right? And so for a lot of Africans or people in general that don't know about Haitian history, I'm gonna tell you this story so African people can understand that we did it before and we can do it again. And so Haiti gained its independence in 1804, in 1804. And the way that we did it was by denouncing and dethroning the white man's religion, or our conquerors at that time religion. And so what the French did, what the Spanish did, what the Dutch did, what the German did, you know, in those times, but for the purposes of Haiti, I'm gonna be talking about French people. What the French did was they went to all over the west coast of Africa, down from Namibia to, you know, modern day Ghana and Senegal, and, you know, like Nigeria and Angola, you name it. Africa is so diverse that we have over 3,500 languages. And so you can imagine, so for example, a tribe could be on one block, you know what I'm saying, like one standard block in the city, and they have their own set of culture, they have their own language and stuff like that. And then on a whole nother block will be another tribe, and they speak a whole nother language, have a whole other unique culture. But at the same time, they both practiced animism, which they were connected to nature. All right. And so what they would do is they would take all these different people from different tribes so that they couldn't communicate and that they couldn't understand. So they wouldn't really know how to do anything. They couldn't read. They couldn't speak French. They couldn't speak the language. They couldn't even communicate with each other. And they brought them over to the island of Hispaniola, which is now Haiti and DR, which is the first place that Christopher Columbus went to, which, by the way, he did not discover that island either, and the same way he didn't discover the Americas, because they were already Africans that had migrated there, and has been documented. What he did was he brought them over there. He raped and pillaged the original Taino natives that were there. Okay, and the ones left over that didn't die from disease or killing, blended in with the new African population that they brought in, and they enslaved them. And it took Haitian people over 150 years plus to create a language now called Creole that we could understand each other in. And so this is why every African must know this story. We came together despite our tribal differences. We couldn't communicate from all over Africa, and we were able to communicate. And so once we were able to get on one accord and communicate, we had to kill all the Uncle Toms, or so to speak, or you know, all the African people that were sellouts, you know, the AKA the house niggas, or the overseers, the people that were gonna bring us down when we actually decided to try to revolt and gain freedom. We had to kill our cancers of our society first, right? And then once we got rid of all them, we were able to come together. Some people still couldn't count or read, but the way that we were able to successfully revolt was we denounced Christianity and went back to our original spiritual belief system. And we called on different energies and the ancestors for, you know, for guidance. We called on different entities. And all the energy, or, you know, certain entities are aspects that lie within ourself, because we are energetic beings. And so it's not like you're just calling to a God outside of you because you are God. You're just calling different aspects and energies that lie within inside of you, the same way that Kundalini energy lies dormant in your root chakra, right? And it's arising your 33 vertebrae. You're just invoking certain energies that are already inside of yourself. And so once we did that and got on one accord, we were able to successfully kill and throw out over 45,000 Frenchmen and take over that side of the island and create our own nation, Haiti. And so this is why this is such a powerful story that every African should know. This should be world history, because we were able to denounce the conqueror, or the Amu, or the slave master's religion, and come back to our own. And now people demonize it again. And so we did it once, not that long ago, 200 years ago. We can do it again. Okay, and so it's important that we understand these symbols. It's important that we understand our history as African people. The eye of Horus, or Heru, symbolizes the pineal gland, the third eye, and your ability to go within for all the answers, your ability to travel through the astral plane, your ability to get confirmation within inside of yourself, your ability to walk into your divinity, because you are God, because you were created in God's image. You are an extension of the Most High. You are an extension of the Creator. We are all under one consciousness, manifesting ourselves through different forms and different expressions, but we all have the same consciousness. And this is why you can be thinking about somebody and then they call you, somebody that you haven't spoken to in a long time. This is why you can like feel when there's tension in a room. You can feel certain things. You can feel when somebody's angry with you. You can feel somebody else's pain. You have the ability to empathize. How many times have you been watching something and like you might see somebody fall off a bike or something, or you might see somebody get hit in the balls and you're like, ooh, and you feel it. It's because you have a biosphere, you have a electromagnetic aura around you that's constantly interacting with the universe, and you get signals. All right, and this is what we would refer to as metaphysics, but all of these things are just interpretations of what we already knew in ancient Africa, because we were living on one accord with the planet, we were living on one accord with the cosmos, we were living on one accord with everything that existed. And so this is why we were at one point able to just walk amongst lions and rhinos and all these different animals, because we understood that we were just one. All right, and also for people that don't know, one of the 42 admissions of Ma'at was to not harm an animal. We didn't eat meat. We didn't eat meat. We actually have plant-based DNA, and this has been confirmed, but that's for a whole nother story. For the purposes of this one, I wanted to tell you guys the true in-depth meaning of what the eye of Horus, or Heru, I should say, is. So with that, family, I send you love, I send you good energy, I send you knowledge, I send you ascension, and I send you the intention to go do your own research, so that you can not only can validate everything I just said, but so that you can validate within inside of yourself. Because the number one law is to know thyself. And if you know who you are, there isn't anybody outside of you that can stop you. Even if they take this physical flesh, you can choose to be any other life form, because you are eternity, you are everything. Don't ever let somebody tell you that you are nothing. Don't ever let somebody tell you that you are below them. All right, regardless of what you are, regardless of you know what I'm saying, like if you are whatever nationality, don't ever let somebody tell you that you are below them. So, all right, family, peace, love, and light. Stay blessed.